This is the Ohio AgNet from the Voice You Know with the News You Trust studios, sponsored by BASF and Zetavo Soybeans, transforming the approach to soybean seed decision making with trailblazing innovation and quality without compromise. I'm Ty Higgins. The local Connection Ag County Fair Tour continues later on today with a stop in Attica. Join us for the midday broadcast at the Attica Independent Fair as Local Connection Ag makes a check presentation to their Junior Fair Board. What did day one of the Ohio Crop Tour find? The latest crop progress report, and we check in with our Between the Rows farmers for an update. This morning's newsfeed delivered by Ebert's Field Seeds, proven local seed performance for Ohio farmers. It's time to start planting Ebert's. Call 937-473-2521 or visit ebertsseeds.com. Day one of the Ohio Crop Tour is in the books. Let's see how things looked with Dusty Sonnenberg.
With me today is Taylor Dill. Taylor is Director of Research for the Ohio Soybean Council. Taylor, we had a chance to get out and see corn and soybean fields in about 9 different counties. And interesting in terms of variability with planting date, what that looked like. More so probably changes in corn versus what we saw in soybeans, and even moisture levels of fields. Now, granted, it was raining in some places, but some areas that definitely had drier soils than others.
Yeah, absolutely. I think you're completely correct in naming the variability that we've had this year, and the variability in planting date that we saw in the spring is really showing up here while we're trying to estimate our yield. Corn is probably more variable throughout northern Ohio, where we had planting dates from mid-April all the way till the beginning of June. Quite a range of maturity.
Day 2 continues today, and we will be providing updates at ohioagnet.com and on Facebook.
Thank you, Dusty. Time for the Ohio Crop Progress Report, sponsored by Relentless Ag. Every acre at peak performance. Learn more at relentlessag.com. Ohio crops continue to show strong progress, with corn and soybeans running at or ahead of their 5-year averages in several key development stages. Corn silking has reached 95%. That's ahead of last week's 90% and ahead of the 93% 5-year average. Soybeans blooming reached 95%, ahead of 87% last week and the 5-year average of 91%. You can read the full report online now at ohioagnet.com. Let's see how things are shaping up at the local level with our Between the Rows farmers. Here's Brianna Smith.
This week's Between the Rows update is brought to you by Seed Genetics Direct, the #1 fastest growing and largest Ohio-based independent seed company. Let's check in with Matt Hartong of Summit County.
Right now we are seeding alfalfa. We've got about 25 acres that we're going to seed. That's kind of a current project that we're working on. Still hoping for a little bit of moisture. So this crop, I still think, needs a couple inches at the very least to fill out some ears and to get the soybeans where we'd like to see them.
Now let's hear from Melissa Clark of Miami County.
We were able to get hay made a week ago, so got a nice dry stretch in there to get that done. The aerial fungicide application, that's all completed now, and we're kind of just holding steady. There's not a ton going on.
For the full Between the Rows update, head to ohioagnet.com. Reporting for Ohio's Country Journal and Ohio AgNet, I'm Brianna Smith.
Thank you, Brianna. Now time for the forecast, brought to you by Seed Genetics Direct, the #1 fastest growing and largest Ohio-based independent seed company. Here's Ryan Martin.
Some ripping thunderstorms fired off in western parts of Ohio and back into Indiana overnight. And all of this moisture is going to continue to try and work through today. There will be holes, but again, seeing another round of significant rain and thunderstorm action this evening and into the overnight, focusing this time more on central and southern parts of Ohio, but I'm not going to rule it out anywhere. Strong to severe weather is going to be a part of this. Gusty winds, the #1 problem. On again, off again rains the rest of the week. We see hit and miss showers for the Wednesday night, Thursday time frame, and then a monster area of low pressure coming through the Great Lakes over the weekend. So all told, I think we still have another 1 to 2.5 inches of rain easily in our pockets, and locally more with some of these strong storms. Next week, still some rain around, but we're going to space out our events and lower the intensity just a notch or two. I'm meteorologist Ryan Martin.
Thank you, Ryan. I was in Urbana yesterday for the Champaign County Fair, where local Connection Ag made a $2,000 donation to the Junior Fair Board. and I had a chance to visit with one of the board members.
My name is Ella Vondenheuvel. I'm a recent graduate of West Liberty Salem, and I reside in Urbana, Ohio.
This is a huge junior fair.
Yeah.
You can see barns all the way down the main strip here, and a lot of kids. How many exhibitors do you think you have here this week?
There's at least 1,000. All these barns are full. I really enjoy seeing everybody come here during this time of year, and a lot of these kids have worked hard, and they have a lot of animals. So,
for those who don't know, what's the responsibility of the Junior Fair Board?
Every 5 years, I believe, we run a sign auction to sponsor signs for the fairgrounds. And we also help run junior fair shows and the grandstand events. We take tickets and help during the tractor pulls and things like that.
Getting a check today, $2,000 donation from Local Connection Ag. How are donations and funds like that used by the Junior Fair?
Every year we participate in a contest through Farm Credit, Mid-America, and it's called Stock the Trailer, and every junior fair board in every county will stock a trailer with non-perishable food items that will go to local food banks. And the past 2 years we've won our region. We'll use that money to sponsor that and provide food for local food banks and to help people in our community.
You mentioned that you just recently graduated.
Yes.
What's next for you?
Well, I'm a part of the RISE program through Sunrise Cooperative down in South Charleston. And then I'm also attending Clark State in the fall for an associate's degree in business.
So future in agriculture for you?
Yes, that's for sure.
What do you hope to do?
With Sunrise right now, I'm really just trying to get a feel for the things that I want to do and I'm interested in. Animals are really my passion, but I think that's not really something that will, make me a living right now. So I think just figuring out what other avenues there are in agriculture will really help me figure out what I want to do.
Outside of your role on the Junior Fair Board and outside of these exhibitors and the livestock shows, what's your favorite part of the fair?
I mean, I'm not a big rides person. I get sick on rides, but one of my biggest things is helping the younger kids. I love encouraging the younger kids and seeing them shine, and I love being a mentor for them just because I'm working the dairy show right now and seeing the kids the rookies that have never shown before. No, I don't know how to show a dairy heifer or whatever, but I think seeing them and encouraging them to always want to do better and to strive for better next time will always help them want to come back next year and participate.
Ella Vondenheuvel, one of the members of the Junior Fair Board at the Champaign County Fair. There are some important deadlines coming up at the Farm Service Agency. Find out more about that after this with today's featured audio on the Ohio AgNet.
Looking for heavy equipment but don't know where to buy? Purple Wave Auction has you covered. Always online and always no reserve. It's your destination for construction or ag equipment ready to work. We even sell semis, trailers, and fleet equipment for your operation. Best part? It's free to join. Head to purplewave.com. That's purplewave.com. Sign up for a free account and start bidding today. Purple Wave Auction, the easiest and most straightforward way to buy and sell equipment.
Welcome back to the Ohio AgNet, the voice you know at the news you trust. I'm Ty Higgins, visiting with the director of FSA here in Ohio, Director Don Jones. Good to see you, sir.
Good to see you. Glad to be back.
Boy, a lot to talk about because we have some important deadlines coming up that FSA wants to make everybody aware of.
We do. It's been a busy month, and we've got a lot of deadlines coming up, and we've got a lot of work coming up. But next Wednesday is the final day for SDRP, Supplemental Disaster Relief Program. I know we've had a lot of people that have signed up, but we've got to get that program wrapped up. So next Wednesday, if anyone has any thoughts that they're going to sign up, we need to see them by really before next Wednesday, because that application is kind of lengthy and it takes a little bit of time, and it's one of those situations where we do not know whether you qualify for payment until you fill out the completed application. So don't wait, but yes, next Wednesday is the final deadline for that.
Another important deadline because something monumental has happened as far as base acres are concerned, something that really hadn't happened in close to 25 years. Tell us about the changes and what farmers need to know as far as when to get that information in.
Yeah, so this administration realized, and they've listened to farmers, and they've realized that we have not had a base acre increase across the country since 2002, as you stated, and so they've worked, and we've got 30 million acres that we can add, which is very important because that's just more that we can help our farmers. Now, the one thing I do want to make sure that people understand is we cannot add a new farm. We can only add base acres to existing farms that are in our system. So if someone is not currently in the program or does not have any base acres, they're not going to be able to jump in right now. This is just to expand the existing farms that we're not completely in at one point in time. And there's been a lot changed in the last 20, 25 years or 24 years. So that deadline is coming up August 31st. And that's something, again, do not wait till the last day. As the state executive director, I am not a fan of registers. We have them for a purpose if there's extenuating circumstances, but we like to be timely, and we like to lead instead of follow other states. So that's a big thing for me here in Ohio.
We lead in a lot of ways. I didn't realize, because we talk about water quality a lot, right? And the watersheds that we have to protect here in Ohio. Programs through FSA make that happen, and Ohio is unbelievably leading the way in a lot of those categories.
We are, and it's something I'm going to give a lot of credit to our partners and our team at the Farm Service Agency that work in those areas. The Lake Erie CREP program, the Scioto River CREP programs are two very big monumental programs. The Conservation Reserve Enhancement Program is what CREP stands for those that do not know. But we have got 74% of the eligible acres signed up for Lake Erie, 80.1 for the Scioto area, and that's not possible without our partners, which is the Ohio Department of Agriculture, the Ohio Department of Natural Resources, the Natural Resource Conservation Service, and really our local soil and water conservation district. So, again, we are number 4 in the country in CRP contracts, and we actually are number 1 in the country in CREP contracts with 13,880. And again, that comes back to our partnerships and our staffs and our local FSA offices. I mean, they're the boots on the ground. They do the work, and I can't give them enough credit, because without them, we don't attain those numbers. And they work with a lot of producers, and we're very proud of that. And it's something that, the H2 Ohio program that our General Assembly has voted on over the past, several years with our Governor DeWine and his staff. Those dollars have made a lot of those projects and acres available and made it worth the effort to do those water quality incentives. So we are, again, proud of our EQIP and our CREP and our CRP programs here in Ohio.
Don Jones, the director of Ohio FSA. For the Ohio AgNet, I'm Ty Higgins reporting.
Hi, I'm Tyler Miller, a soybean farmer from Crawford County. When I grow soybeans, I'm not just raising a crop, I'm creating fuel at home. Biodiesel adds nearly $2 to our bushel price and strengthens our energy independence. If you're not using biodiesel on your farm, now's the time. If you're not sure how to get it, ask your local fuel supplier. Ready to turn last year's crop into this year's fuel? Learn more at soyohio.org.
This message is brought to you by Ohio soybean farmers and their checkoff.
This has been a wild year to grow corn and soybeans in Ohio, but how are the crops shaping up? Find out with the 2026 Ohio Crop Tour, sponsored by Field Leader. Follow daily reports all this week at ohioagnet.com as our scouts check corn and soybean fields across the state. Then join us at an Ohio Soybean Hometown Tour event to hear yield estimates and key observations firsthand. Learn more and RSVP at soyohio.org/hometown. That's soyohio.org/hometown. Welcome back to the Ohio AgNet. I'm Ty Higgins, and this morning's market analysis is brought to you by Louis Dreyfus Company in Upper Sandusky. Opening to receive soybeans starting September 1st. Ohio farmers plan to get your RFID tag the week of August 24th from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. To learn more, call 419-731-7100. Here's Ryan Martin.
Grain markets finished mixed to mostly higher on the Monday session. The bean complex, beans and bean oil up, bean meal down. Corn was fractionally lower on the old crop, or I guess we should say nearby. A little bit stronger once you get out well into 2027. Minneapolis wheat lower, but Chicago and KC wheat was higher. Interesting role of the marketplace yesterday. A little bit of a choppiness with pre-report positioning, but the U.S. corn export inspections stayed relatively strong. Let's talk about that. The weekly export inspections had corn at just shy of 70 million bushels. Soybean export for the week ending July 30th came in just shy of 15 million bushels, and wheat 15.5 million. The corn export pace was above expectation. Last week's corn exports were September up to 74.3 million bushels. So we're 624 million bushels ahead of last year on the corn export pace. That tells me midweek here there has to be an adjustment to exports. I'm Ryan Martin.
Thank you, Ryan. Let's get a check of overnight markets brought to you by FS Envision and High Soy. Seed made for this ground. Learn more at fsseed.com/Ohio. Corn for September overnight, 3/4 better at $4.39 a bushel. December, $4.62.5, up 3/4 as well. No change for August beans at $11.56 3/4. November, $11.81 1/4, up 1 3/4. And wheat for September, $6.40.5, unchanged. August live cattle up 157 at $233.27. Feeder cattle for September, $344.57, down 65. Lean hogs for August, 20 cents higher at $95.70. Get more of today's farm news, markets, and weather online at ohioagnet.com. I'm Ty Higgins. We'll see you down the road.